What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Always Compete Seahawks podcast. I am Sam. I told you we're back. I'm going to try my very hardest to stay back. So I'm going to start tonight. We have a Seahawks Rams preview. I'm recording this Saturday, September 9th, 8:31 p.m. Eastern time. Uh, this is obviously a game that a lot of people have hyped up. Week one, playing against a division rival at home. It's a very important game. You get the feel that the Seahawks have a chance to really start off this year strong against an opponent that in the past few years has been a very strong team. However, now is kind of struggling and looking for air. We're going to examine kind of the ins and outs of the game, who's injured, some key points, some stuff to talk about. Just have a kind of a general game preview for the Rams Seahawks week one season opener. Let's get right into it. We're going to kind of talk about just the zoom out bare minimum stuff going on here. ESPN Analytics gives the Seahawks a 63% chance to win this game, which is obviously pretty good odds. That's about 2 and 3 simulations. They are winning according to ESPN's computers. Seahawks are a 5-point favorite. The over-under is 46. This is obviously just a historically a Rams team, especially with Sean McVay, that has really owned the Seahawks in recent history. You kind of think back to those years when they had Jared Goff and when they were really like Super Bowl contenders in 2017 and in 2018, especially. That's the game where you have the Rams beating the Seahawks like by 40 in their own house. Those Todd Gurley teams always really had the Seahawks number, and that kind of carried in. You remember 2020, the Seahawks beat the Rams at home to win the division, and then the Rams go to Seattle week one, wild card game, not even week one, just the wild card game, and they kind of thump them in their own house. That's the Darius Williams pick six game. That's kind of the end of the Russ. I kind of view that as the end of the Russ era in Seattle, all things considered. This Sean McVay has always known how to play the Seahawks, especially last year. The Seahawks swept the Rams, and on paper, you think, oh, that should definitely carry into this year. Those are Rams teams that started John Wolford, Rams teams that started Baker Mayfield, and the Seahawks barely won both. Both actually came on game-winning plays. Seahawks had a game-winning touchdown late in the game in the first one to DK Metcalf, which I feel like a lot of people remember. And then obviously the one in the last game of the season at home, Jason Myers misses the potential game-winning field goal in regulation, then makes the game-winning field goal in overtime. So this is a team that on paper the Rams should really have a great shot considering the recent history, how Sean McVay plays the Seahawks, how they always game plan. However, this is not the same Rams team, even the same Rams team as last year. You look at this Rams roster, it is so unique compared to the rest of the NFL. You have a depth chart. Matt Stafford will get the start, obviously hurt a lot of last year with that elbow injury. We're going to see how he plays. When you have a mid-30s quarterback who is injured, or at least has been injured on his throwing elbow in the past, we will see how that plays. Cooper Kupp is out. He was placed on the injured reserve today. This Rams team is so bizarre. They're starting Puka Nacua at their third string wide receiver, at least according to ESPN. I don't know who that is. You look at some of their old linemen, like Tremaine Ankrum, Brian Allen, Steve Avila. These are fine. Steve Avila's a rookie. Tremaine Ankrum, I believe, was a rookie last year. This is a team that could do something. Obviously, we know that they're going to have a great scheme with Sean McVay being the head coach. So, all things considered, this is a team that, regardless of the pieces, should be able to put forth a good offense. Van Jefferson's a solid player. Tyler Higbee's a good player. They have good tackles. Joe Noteboom, Rob Havenstein, and Cam Akers really finished the year off strong kind of those last 6 weeks, especially in the last game against Seattle, had a really good rushing game. And we know how that Seahawks rushing defense has been, especially last year. We're going to see how they kind of stack up. Matt Stafford, obviously, coming back will make this Rams offense much better than it was last year when they had John Wolford, when they had Baker Mayfield. Where it really comes down is this defense is so unknown. You're talking about a defense that does not really have an identity. They lost their two of their three best defensive players, two Pro Bowl players, Bobby Wagner, and Jalen Ramsey. We're talking about two titans here. By Wagner, perhaps the best run stuffing inside linebacker in football, and Jalen Ramsey, perhaps the best corner of football. They're both gone. And the really interesting thing is they did not replace them with anyone significant. They're rolling with Darian Kendrick. They're rolling with Kobe Durant, two guys who are late round rookies from last year. Darian Kendrick from Georgia. Yeah, I believe his draft stock tanked after he ran like a 4.8 as a corner. And then Kobe Durant, who I believe is from South Carolina State, if I have that correct. Yes, he is. These guys are so unknown. You look at their depth kind of going down the list at corner, where you have Akello Witherspoon, former Seahawk, obviously, Duke Shelley, Trey Thompson. These guys are so unproven as it goes for, can they start in the NFL? Their secondary is obviously young, kind of unknown. Jordan Fuller is really the only guy that's known here. John Johnson, who used to be a really good safety for them, coming off the bench. This front seven has some names that I simply either do not recognize or only recognize because they are playing our division. Left defensive end, Jonah Williams. I have no idea who that is. I know Jonah Williams, the tackle on Cincinnati, but this Jonah Williams, I have no clue. We're going to take a look at his stats a little bit. In his career, he has 28 total games, half a sack, 28, or no, my bad, not 28 total games, 28 total tackles, half a sack, or half a sack. As far as I can tell, this dude has only played 2 years. He has about 24 games under his belt. 28 years old, from Weber State. I do not know who Jonah Williams is. Is that to say that he's a bad football player? No, but this is a Rams team that has literally been the team that has said, F them picks, to keep it family friendly on this channel. F them picks. Literally, that has all that they have preached for a while. You kind of expect them to maybe go out and acquire some top end defensive talent that are at least notable names that can come in and fill gaps on this defense. But at this moment, they're rolling with what they have. They're kind of doing a mini defensive rebuild here. Nose tackle Bobby Brown. I know Bobby Brown from Texas A&M. Played a little bit last year. As far as I can tell, didn't make any massive impacts. Didn't have a sack last year. Only had 9 total tackles. So, not a great nose tackle there. Obviously, you have Aaron Donald, dominant. He will change your defense regardless of who's on the team. That's whatever. Byron Young is listed as the weak side linebacker. I remember this guy from I almost said Georgia, Tennessee. He was the 3rd round pick last year. But that 3rd round pick this year, no stats. We will see how he does. He's a rookie, essentially replacing Bobby Wagner. We will see how that goes for them. Right inside linebacker, Christian Roseboom. Rose spelled with a Z. I have no idea who Christian Roseboom is. South Dakota State, 26 years old. He's in his 3rd season. In his career, he has 11 total tackles. He's going to be expected to fill a big gap left by Bobby Wagner pretty much as well. Ernest Jones, I know just because he's been on the team for a few years now. Michael Hoyt, I know a little bit. Jordan Fuller, Russ Yeast. My main takeaway when looking at this Rams team is this is not the Rams team that we are used to seeing. This is the LA market. This is the team that went out, despite having traded a ton of picks already in the past, going out saying, you know what, we're going to get ourselves Von Miller to try and make a Super Bowl push. This team simply has realized that they spent all their picks, they lost all their players, and now they are fighting to a point where they're fighting to grow for the future from the inside without having to make those high top end picks, which is tough to do. And is it kind of respectable for them to realize and kind of punt and say, you know what, we're going to go with what we have and we're just going to play our style? It's certainly unique, and I'm very interested to see how it goes. Kind of moving on here to what the Seahawks are working with. We all know what the Seahawks are working with, but we'll kind of do a quick skim and get an idea. We'll look at the listed depth chart that ESPN has, which is pretty much what the Seahawks give out. Ken Walker's healthy. There was a little bit of talk of him maybe not playing. He's healthy. Damian Lewis will be playing as well. We know what this team looks like. Frankly, what I expect a lot of passing from the Seahawks team. We're going to be seeing a very young, very inexperienced secondary going out against perhaps the best wide receiver trio in football. It's kind of left to be seen what Jackson Smith-Njigba will add, but based on the preseason, we know what he can do, especially when we see him at Ohio State being the leading receiver on a team with Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson. That is huge. He will be adding something that is dynamic, which is run after catch ability. Tyler Lockett gives you that reliable guy that will be open and can make the tough catches. You have DK Metcalf, a guy that can get open for those big bombs down the field, just a very tough physical guy to bring down. And he gets in that middle of the field. He's fast. He can create a lot of havoc on that defense. Jackson Smith-Njigba is a guy that can catch a 5-yard pass and take it 45 yards, which is something that the Seahawks really have not had a lot as of late. Noah Fant will be getting the start at tight end. Offensive line looks essentially the same. It's going to be interesting. Aaron Donald will be a good test for that interior, especially two new starters, Evan Brown, Phil Haynes. We will see how they handle Aaron Donald, obviously one of the most dominant interior defensive linemen we have ever seen. Going to the defense here, Boye Mafe listed as a starter, which is very interesting. We're going to see what he adds. Maybe he'll play on the early downs. He has a great run stuffer, or at least what we saw in the preseason, great run stuffer. You know, we're kind of talking about Mario Edwards getting a start, Jaron Reed getting a start on that interior. How will this interior handle a Rams run game, which looked really good at the end of last year? Sean McVay, obviously, with a good Seahawks secondary out there. Jamal Adams is out, but Julian Love is a very good stand-in. Quandre Diggs, Tariq Woolen, and we will see what's going on with that left corner. There's talk about perhaps they'll play multiple. Perhaps Devin Witherspoon will be healthy and he'll go out. Although, based on what I heard, it sounds like Devin Witherspoon will probably be hanging mostly on, will probably be out tomorrow. I expect to see Trey Brown. I expect to see Michael Jackson out there, which is going to be interesting to see how they handle the game, how they handle a Rams offense that is very good at picking apart the open spots and the weak spots of defenses. We're going to see how that goes. Big storyline here, return of Bobby Wagner. What does Bobby Wagner add to this defense? Does he change this defense from a bottom 5 run stuffing defense to a top 15 run stuffing defense, which frankly would be a massive improvement? What I'm expecting, I need the Seahawks to create turnovers. We have good pass rushers coming off here. Chenna Nwosu got a big extension. Derek Hall going to be coming off that edge. Daryl Taylor, Boye Mafe, someone who made huge strides in the preseason. Matt Stafford, even at his best, is a turnover-prone quarterback. In the year that they won the Super Bowl, I believe he threw like 18 picks. That is an opportunity for you. Go out, create turnovers. Tariq Woolen, Quandre Diggs, I'm looking at you guys. You guys have hands. You guys have a knack for the ball. If your defense, your front 7 can make Matt Stafford make those mistakes, you have to take advantage in a game where Sean McVay will be picking you apart the most he can with what he's given. Let's move kind of into who's active, who's inactive. We kind of touched on it a little bit already. Looking at the rosters in general for the Rams, Cooper Kupp is out, which is huge, absolutely massive. We'll see what that makes it. We'll see how that necessarily plays into the game directly. Going into talking about the other inactives, only 2 other players are listed on the injury report. Stetson Bennett, the backup rookie from Georgia, we all know him for commanding back-to-back natty teams. He is out. And Hunter Long, the tight end that they got in the Jalen Ramsey trade, is also out. He was placed on the IR today. Moving to the Seahawks, Derek Young on the injured reserve. Kenny McIntosh also placed on the injury reserve today. He'll be missing time. I expect them to go out and perhaps get a temporary filler, perhaps from free agency or from that practice squad as a running back onto the active roster. Jamal Adams is out. They're going to give him at least another week to work back from that quad injury, get into full speed practices. He's been doing walkthroughs, but we're not going to be really sure how much he can do. kind of out there on that full speed stage yet. They want to give him time. They don't want to risk any re-injury. You kind of go into Devin Witherspoon and Damian Lewis. Damian Lewis will play. He's listed as questionable. Pete Carroll's already said he would play. He was a full participant in practice on Friday. Devin Witherspoon is where it gets very interesting. Limited participant all week in practice, which means that we don't know exactly what is going to happen. Pete was saying, well, he could play, but I'm not sure. That to me sounds like he's out. Pete is usually very optimistic on these injuries. It sounds like he's not going to play, frankly, just based on what I heard from Pete. Sounds like he's not going to play, which is fine. Give him the most time possible. It's week 1. We're going to have bigger games up ahead. If you lose this one, it's not a backbreaker. Obviously, it'd be nice, but don't risk your number 5 pick, Golden Goose from the Russell Wilson trade, back if he's not healthy yet. I believe he will not play. So that kind of leaves you with those inactives. And obviously the inactives that they will list tomorrow as required inactives, and you need at least 6 players inactive. We'll see where that goes. The general consensus on this game, like I said, Seahawks winning 63% of the simulations. If I look up the bets here, kind of talking about the who's getting action here, go to covers.com. Shout out to them. Yeah, pretty much the odds all are Seahawks 4.5 to 5-point favorites in this one. Be over under usually around 45, 46 and a half. That kind of stuff. The money line Seahawks minus 215 on FanDuel, minus 227 on Caesars, that kind of stuff. So the Seahawks are seen as definite favorites in the face of the media. Frankly, I am very cautious when I take the Seahawks, especially in a game like this that feels like a huge trap. Everybody's saying, oh, the Rams are so inexperienced, and the Rams are, they have so many rookies out there, and how are they going to compete with this explosive Seahawks offense? Frankly, to me, that sounds like you're stepping into the biggest trap of your entire life. I don't know how you feel about that. I feel a little bit suspicious about it. Going on to what I'm going to say, I think the Seahawks win tomorrow. I think the Seahawks win, and I think they cover. I think they win by more than 5. I think that things are lining up pretty right here. The defense for the Rams, worse than it is last year, missing Bobby Wagner, missing Jalen Ramsey. You take Bobby Wagner and you move to your side. Jalen Ramsey is gone. Taylor Rapp is gone. I'm feeling pretty good about this offense. I feel like what we should really hope to see is you can expect the offense to go out and score 20, 25. It's going to be all in the defense. What does the defense do to help you win this game? Where does that go? If we win the game, but if we win 35 to 31 and the defense gives up 450 total yards, we have to eke it out on the last drive. How are you really feeling about this game? And that's what I really want to take away. I will be doing a recap when the game is finished tomorrow. The weather's looking very nice, 65, partly cloudy, according to AccuWeather. I expect the game to be sold out at home. It's another factor, at home, especially. This is a pretty good setup for the Seahawks week 1, all things considered. Every NFC West team is on the road. And I really want Seahawks fans to watch tomorrow. The Seahawks will be playing the Rams at 425. Go check out the Niners visiting the Steelers at 1:00. That's a big game. The Steelers are a team that I really expect to do well this year. The Niners are a team that has a lot of question marks. Brock Purdy, will Nick Bosa be good without playing in training camp at all? A lot of those things. I would be interested in watching that game if you guys are interested in, maybe checking out what other teams will look like. But if you're just interested in the Seahawks, I think this is a pretty good setup. I'm not a betting man. Frankly, I'm underage. So if I wanted to bet, I couldn't. But I would be fairly optimistic about this one. Obviously, cautious optimism. Don't get cocky. But I think the Seahawks win. My score prediction is going to be, I will go 30-21. I think the Seahawks win 30-21. I think they win by 9. I think Geno Smith is going to have a big game yards wise. Turnovers can be a problem. The blitzes that Raheem Morris, name blanked on me there for a second, that Raheem Morris, the defensive coordinator for the Rams, can force some turnovers. Geno had turnovers against the Rams in the past 2 years. Past two games. How will he look? I think he'll have a lot of yards. I think you look at this inexperienced defense of the Rams, especially this inexperienced secondary. Maybe in the past you could bank on, well, you can play zone and have them kind of cover with like 4 different guys, cover DK, cover Tyler Lockett. Adding Jackson Smith and Jigba changes this entire game. He is healthy. He will play. Jackson Smith and Jigba will add a whole different dimension, which is you have DK, that deep bomb guy. He will be the 40+ yard pass target there. You have Tyler Lockett, who's going to be your mid over the field type of guy. You need a quick pass. You need 10 yards. Fire it to Tyler over the middle. Boom, first down. Jackson Smith and Jigba is the guy that you can throw a screen to. He will bring it 40 yards. He will bring it for a touchdown. That's the type of stuff that this offense was missing, that big play from the line of scrimmage potential. Kenneth Walker added a bit last year. I believe that Jackson Smith and Jigba will only add more this year. I think the offensive line will need to show up. I think, frankly, if you double team Aaron Donald the whole game, you'll be all right. We need the tackles to hold up. I'm really interested in this defense. I think that the Rams will definitely have some drives that are just 8 plays, 75 yards, 4 minutes, touchdown. Those type of things where they just, everything clicks. It will happen against a Sean McVay team. They will game plan properly for your defense. But all in all, I think the Seahawks will prevail. Let me know your score predictions, your thoughts in the comments below. If you have any video ideas or recommendations, let me know. I'm always looking for new stuff. I'm always looking to be fun. Include the fans, our many millions, billions of fans. And just please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell if you want to know when we post videos, and leave a comment, like I said. So thank you very much. I will see you tomorrow for the recap. Peace out.